Hello everybody, my name is Nick. Welcome to Angelic Video Tutorials. And thank you everybody. People start to comment on my channel and say about that. It's perfect. I really want people to start to enter there in my channel and to start to comment for video tutorials, or if you want more tutorials, other kind of tutorials, what kind of tutorials you want. Okay, so in this case, today I said I will describe something about Azure Service Fabric. I will discuss about the Azure Service Fabric and Docker. Azure Service Fabric versus Docker. Because a lot of people says, oh, Azure Service Fabric is better than Docker. Other people says, oh, Docker is better than Azure Service Fabric. In my case, if you want my opinion, Azure Service Fabric is something for kind of microservices, stateless or stateful, and Docker, it's something else for containers. It's a container monitor and doing something else. We will see what's going on with everything about all this. So if you want native cloud or just some cloud or cloud generated on microservices or just part cloud of that, and these types of cloud, search cloud, that kind of cloud of hosting, just to host something or put a microservice or whatever. In Azure Service Fabric, you will see we will have nodes. In Docker, if you will see or you will use Kubernetes, for example, you can do more than these PODs and a lot. You can go very, very, very deep in this subject named cloud and microservices and software development in cloud or for cloud. Is basically because it's cloud computing. So in this case, it's software development for clouds. Okay. In my case, we will use cloud desktop also for Azure Service Fabric, also for Docker. So we will use Azure Service Fabric locally on computer, and also Docker desktop locally on computer, because it's a test and I want to show you fast than ever. I want to show you what's going on with all this. So we have, can be used in general, is used for cloud, in our case Azure, if we talk about Microsoft technologies, or it can be other kind of cloud, can be from Amazon, AWS, can be from Google or whatever, So a lot of companies provide cloud with all what means that, we will talk a little bit about microservices. So I discussed already about microservices. I said also something about microservices, web service and microservices generated around the web service. Basically, you have a web service and pulling it back and go there, have something in, and there you have the rest of the cloud who do something back for you. Basically, state is serverless. What means serverless? When you develop software serverless state, means you don't need a server. Oh, so we don't have a server? Yeah, we have, but we don't need. What? Yeah, we have, but we don't need a server? Yes. We don't need to develop our server side. We will use also this and discussing with cloud using microservices. We will discuss with cloud, and in back cloud knows everything there what is necessary to respond to us. If you have something and you go have a microservices to discuss something in cloud, and you have a virtual machine, for example, let's start with the PS. Okay, PS. Platform as a service. Okay, in this case, in platform as a service, you have just some hardware. On the hardware, some operating system in there. It's your job to do the rest. Put everything you want there. It's your job. If you have a platform as a service, in this case, you need to do also in the cloud something there. CI/CD. You see there. You can see there. We have CI/CD also. DevOps. It's not necessarily only a software developer to do something. You need also DevOps. In the past, you had system administrators or service administrators or network administrators who manage the servers for you. In this case, you need DevOps to manage the cloud for you in backend strategy, in platforms and so on. You as a software developer, you need to create software and use cloud, for that. So basically, you just use microservices and cloud respond to you. You have everything what you need. Okay, that's very basic things about cloud. Okay. Also you have management, also you have software development, so you can do a lot of things. In my case, if you want to go and to work, or in your case if you want, okay, if you want to go and work into a team, I recommend everybody to go in DevOps. You know, DevOps, it's a platform. It's the oldest than DevOps was TVSFS. I mean, Team Foundation, but for cloud, you know, was in the past. And after that is DevOps with everything, with pipelines for testing, with Mike to do there. It's a beauty. Okay, so there you can do. It's free, by the way. It's free. You can go on DevOps, create your company on DevOps. There, what you need. You can create a project and everything. We will discuss about that in other video tutorial. Okay, so till now, what we have Visual Studio as IDE, integrated development environment. We have some local Azure Service Fabric and also local Docker desktop. We will use some microservices. I don't know if it will be stateless or stateful. Difference between stateless and stateful is stateless is something like you have in memory, that kind of memory, random access memory, you know. Have something process data, and if it's deleted from scratch, from zero, take from step one, okay? Stateful remain with some persistent data. This is the difference between them. Anyway, I think today we will use stateless because it's cheaper in resources and we can deal with that faster. Okay. This is for Azure Service Fabric. For Docker, we have containers. What is Docker? Docker is a container monitor. What is a container? A container is part implemented on a virtual machine, to say like that directly. Okay, applied. And there, you don't need an operating system. You don't need nothing else. The container deal everything, all the data for you. And Docker monitor the container. If you want to monitor the rest and to see the strategies and what you to do bigger than what's going on, go with Cucumbers. But also you need Docker, okay? In this case. So we have a container for Docker, you know. Container can be for Linux or for Windows. So have the course for that. Why? Because if you knew already or if you don't know, I'll tell you now. In the past, if you want to host your web application, let's say you have a web application or web APIs, okay? Something like a solution and have a web application as a project and also some web APIs as a second project, okay? In this case, all that you needed to be hosted somewhere on the web server. That web server was in general IIS, okay? It can be also on Linux now because Linux now with mono system, since it's mono system, mono dev, I mean the actual Sangmarine, knows already, the Linux knows already to host, to maintain also ASP.NET applications, I mean ASP.NET websites, okay? But you needed that. Here you don't need that. You need a container, put everything there, don't need the operating system, don't need in layers or stuff like that, don't need to do nothing in the server side. You have a container, Docker, okay? Container monitor. You will see also that part. Today I will be focused only between differences and also some similarities between Azure Service Fabric. Actually, Azure Service Fabric can be like Docker. Can be used as Docker, you know. It's in star, it's in mesh. Don't enter in big strategies in cloud, okay? Docker is in container, is very useful, and it's free, open source, like also like Kubernetes and other software like that, okay? So it's free. A lot of companies, the software companies who develop software, use Docker. In the past they used Azure Service Fabric. Azure Service Fabric you can go also with .NET Framework. Docker you can go also with .NET Core. We will discuss in another video tutorial what is the difference between .NET Framework and .NET Core applied. Why? Because you will see .NET Core have a nano, I mean it's smaller, can run in the real time in the same, it's not necessary to recompile, rego, restart debug or stuff like that, you will see. But also, if you want and have some third parties and you want some to put some features, okay, you can do the interfaces in real time, not necessary to start the debug. Okay, we will see also then. Wow, a lot of things. IT is beautiful. Let's start to do something today. What we will do? This. We have an IDE, we have Visual Studio, okay, and we will use, now we will start to create Service Fabric application. Service Fabric application. Let's say Service Fabric application, okay. I will put it on D as usual, you know, it's another hard drive for me in my PC, so in this case I will use it only for testing. We have here a solution name and say Cloud Solution, okay, and we will use .NET Framework 4.7.2. This is the version 4.7.2, okay, major, minor, and so on. This we will discuss in the future also about versions, why it's 4.7.2 now and why is not 4.7.2.0, because was in 4, you know, major, minor, and so on, what's going on. We will discuss also about that. We will discuss in the future also about what's going on with open source and copyright, why it's copyleft and copyright, because a lot of people don't know about copyleft and so on. Okay, good. Today we are focused on Azure Service Fabric and Docker. Now we have Azure Service Fabric. Basically the name is Service Fabric application. In specified location we have a solution name, Cloud Solution, and we will use a .NET framework. Okay, so let's create this solution. We can use type of what? Woo! Starting with microservices. Yes, stateless service, stateful service is type of service. Okay, in Azure Service Fabric you can do that. It's generated that. And also we can use this scaffold, you know, scaffolding part. I mean, automatically to be generated by ID for us. I will use stateless service, that kind of service who don't remain with data, you know. If it's clear, will be clear like memory. Clear memory, done, temporary, clear. And after that, starting from 0. Basically, when you restart this, we restart from step 0. Or someone can say step 1, first step, you know, we'll start from scratch, from beginning. In this case, I want just to show you a little bit of stateless service and what's going on. Here, I started already the Microsoft Azure. You can see Microsoft Azure here, look. And we have something like an application 0, because we don't have an application running at the moment. We have 1 node. We can do 5 nodes or whatever, complex as much as you want, but in my case 1 node, just 1 node, is quite okay, you know. If you don't know about that, we will discuss when we start to learn basics of cloud, basics about cloud. Okay, of course, system evaluation of system to see if system is okay. Basically what we have here, we have some essentials, some details, some metrics, some cluster map if you want, image store, manifest of that, and events of everything. Look, we have also events of that. Okay, so essentials. What we have in essentials, we have basically 1 node. It's active, it's running, it's here. Okay, we have 0 applications, 0 services running, partitions, nothing. It's clear, 0. It's like when a football match starts, you know, 0-0. After that we will see what's going on. Okay, basically we have 1 healthy node, no warnings, no errors. Good, we have our cloud. Yeah, local. So we have a small one, a very small one, but we have one. Okay, we have also other information here, like details about what's going on here. Okay, basically from now on it's dedicated for people who do CI/CD. I mean DevOps, you know. But for a developer, it's enough if you see all this is running and what's going on probably some details. Metrics, again, you will see in real time what's running, you know. A cluster map, because we have clusters, you know. So all this, for the moment, this is very interesting for us. One node active, because we need one, you know. 0 applications running, because we don't use debug for our application. 0 services running, partitions and so on. Good. Now back to our IDE. Let's create our serverless service, and we will have basically 2 projects in solution. You see, it's stateless. Basically, we have the program for that. Look here, service, event sources, and stateless application. Basically, it's here. Look, everything is good here. Let's do a little bit. Let's make some room here, some free space to see everything. Okay, so here we have basically stateless 1. This is the name, stateless 1. Okay, so we have all code here already generated by ID for us. Look, it's generated also. I will generate this. It's generated all for us. Replace the following code if you want to put more, and so on. Basically, what we have a simple service, a simple stateless service here. It's very basic one here. Okay, here we have even sources for that. Okay, you need to know some cloud to understand all this. Okay, and program, because without main program we can't do nothing, you know. So we have a main program to start everything. Okay, basically start service runtime, registry where is exact, prevents the host to put street sleep, and catch in case of something, do this fail, and also put in logs and so on. Okay, good. Basically, service application is here. Can you see? Service application is application package root, parentheses, and profiles, and so on. Stateless or stateful services will be another project in our solution. Now, basically, we need to build everything to be very happy and to understand, yes, it's perfect, it's running. Oh, it's running, so no errors, no nothing. Build, succeed. Can you see here? Build, succeed. Perfect. So, till now I'm happy. Let's see what we can do. Let's run. What we need to run? Service Fabric application, because we can't run directly stateless. We need to run through this application. So, if Service Fabric application will run, because it's linked with one stateless, another stateless, stateful, stateless, and so on. How many you want to create, okay? In our case, just one stateless service. Let's run. Let's start to debug this. Basically, we have a deploy part. Let me to show you all this part with this. Very small for the moment. It's very small. Okay. And here is 0, 0, 0, and why? Because here is not finished to deploy, to compile and do everything what is necessary. You will see an output here after that with some states of what's going on. If you start to see that it's connect, you start to see it's running. Yes, we have one service. Look here. We have one node active, one application, one service on one partition, and one replica. Okay, so everything is green, everything is healthy. We start to have a first service using Service Fabric, Azure Service Fabric. Okay, if you check here, we have an application type, and our application, what is? Look, Service Fabric application. Is this Service Fabric application there? Yes, is that. And here it's all details you want about that part. If we go back to cluster and go to details, we will see details about what's going on here and some metrics in real time if our service will do something, you know. A cluster map is the same, image store is the same, and so on. Okay, so basically we start to have a node, an application, a service on one partition. Everything is healthy, so everything is good, everything is quite nice. Perfect! I proved to everybody it's working service fabric application, but what I want now to have also another type of application who is designed, who's basically for what? For container. And for container, I will do a web application who will be containerized. I mean, will be hosted, will be placed directly on a container. Okay? To see the differences, that's why I want everybody to see the differences, because a lot of developers, entry levels or middle levels even, they don't understand the differences between that. If you see what's going on in one case or another case, you can detect the differences. Okay? So in this case, we have this. We will create another project, add new project. What kind of project we want here? We want an Azure for container. What we want here? We want, for example, for Docker. If we put Docker like this, you can see container application for Kubernetes directly or other types of things. But in our case, we can use .NET Core. Okay, so .NET Core, ASP.NET, let's say an ASP.NET Core Web API. Okay, in C#. Create, let's say here in location in the projects cloud, blah blah blah. Okay, so basically it's core app ASP app ASP net API. I don't know, I put just one title. Okay, next, where you want to put what kind of authentication. For the moment we don't want HTTPS because I don't have a certificate on that part. Enable Docker, or what kind of Docker we want, on Linux or Windows we can choose. Docker is very good actually on Linux. It's good to say like that on Windows. Actually, Azure Service Fabric is very good on Windows, but it's not good on Linux. Okay, so in this case we will create this API. Very quick, empty thing, nothing fancy. Okay, and after that we will start to use it. Let's start to build. Basically, we have here everything is built or every. I need to start the Docker. He said to me, Nick, you didn't have started the Docker. The Docker is not started. So basically now the Docker will be started. Okay, for me, I will start the Docker. Let's start the Docker because it's Docker desktop in my case. Look, this is Docker engine started. We learn what's failure first, because here it's twice, you know, started automatically, also started by me. Okay, so in this case we have a Docker. We let also Visual Studio active here, and because we have Docker active, it's active. We have some images, a lot of images, but if you check here, we have also Kubernetes active. Don't worry, I will not talk about Kubernetes, only about Docker for the moment. Okay, so what we have Docker desktop with some apps here who's already running, Docker desktop storage, blah blah blah, and images, containers as application, what was in the past some applications. Okay, if I delete an application is not running, can be removed very fast, and images are here because it's based on containers on images. Okay, so in this case, let's see what's going on with this. Now is this first, let's build everything. because it's better to build everything, not to have errors or something like that. And now if I don't have an error, I really be happy. I'll be happy. Build succeed, I'm happy. I have two types of projects in one solution. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you check, can you see a lot of others appeared for Kubernetes to start to manage what's going on, okay? POD and KA at S, it's Kubernetes, okay? It's for Kubernetes, it started already. You can have also on Kubernetes or Docker Hub to go there and to check what's going on in cloud directly. Or you can go directly in Azure, go in Azure and have the dashboard and start to deal with that directly there, if you know, or put a DevOps engineer to do that for you. Okay, good. In this case, we have this, everything is ready. Basically, what we will have here, well, Docker, it's here, can you see? So I can start to run a debug. Where? In Docker. Directly in Docker to see what's going on. Basically, an API will start now to run, build started, and the Docker will manage everything here, you know. If you check here, we have Docker desktop Kubernetes applications and all other type of projects, okay? So basically you will see we will have our core ASP.NET and everything who's running, okay? Build started, so basically the IDE start to build again, everything build succeeded, and it started to do something in Docker. Look, started already, can you see? Also an IDE, you can see here all active things what you can see here in Docker dashboard. This is Docker desktop dashboard, equivalent of what you can see into a dashboard on cloud, but it's a fancy one there. It's with more other features, you know. But here it's just the core, and also you can see our API started, is running. Look, temperature or something is running. So we have an API weather forecast. It's an example directly generated by IDE, by Visual Studio, to have an API who's running, who's okay, you know. So basically we have an API here who's running, and you can see that API here is working. Core ASP.NET API in use and is run. It's green. Beautiful. It's working. Can you see API here and on Docker here? And also if you check, you can see your up here. Look, with all details like in Docker here. If you go here, you can see all details about what you want. Inspect and go, see all details is working, what's going on, and so on. What is the image ID created in cloud? You will have this kind of IDs and very long IDs. You must be aware about that part. You will have long IDs, very long IDs. Okay, so don't worry if you see something like that. It's not an error, it's an ID. Okay. So basically also it's running. You see, it's here, it's running. Perfect. Let's go now and start the fabric, the service, Azure Service Fabric. Let's go in debug. Start new instance. We have Docker. Don't worry, Docker is here. Let's do Docker a little bit. I can't smaller than this, sorry. Okay, so we have Docker here with core API, and also we start now the other serverless one, you know, service. So this is Docker. That means container put and hosted on that, and also placed on as a service in Azure Service Fabric. Good. So basically what we have here, we have this, and we will start to manage what we have there, the cluster, you know, the local cluster. Woo, it's running. We have also a Docker active, also serverless active in the same solution who's running. Perfect, perfect guys. Now if we will stop everything, you will see the Docker will stop to run this image. Okay, is in use because it's there in containerized. Keep it in there, but application is not anymore used. And here in our Azure Service Fabric, we will not have nothing who is working. Okay, so in this case, basically we stop everything, and because we stop everything, everything will be finished. Okay, guys, this is for today. This is the video tutorial for today. I hope was a very good one for you. I really hope this video tutorial to show you the big differences and general and direct differences and also similarities between Azure Service Fabric and Docker. Directly in code, directly in projects, directly in solutions. Running. You saw them running, you saw them how it's created, what is that, and what is that, and how is also, you saw also CI/CD part, you know, because that dashboards and all that details is basically in general for DevOps. Okay, all details, but also some details must be known by developers, like general details, if it's working, what is status, and so on of a service or a container image into a container somewhere. Okay, this is it. I'm happy we did that. I didn't have errors in compiling or in running, so I'm very happy, you know. Till next time, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nick. Was a pleasure to be with you today. See you next time. Bye bye.